Zombies, whether they run, walk, shamble, or dance, we love them. But if an apocalypse happened tomorrow, let's be honest, most of us wouldn't make it past week 1. Most of us wouldn't know what weapon to choose or where to set up a safe house. Today, that all changes as we go into the science of survival, boosting your chance of survival going from 3% to something significantly higher. Section 1. No Die Zombie. Zombies come in all shapes and sizes, ranging from varying levels in mobility, from the slow shuffling Italian zombie to the full-on sprinting 28 days later rage-induced infected. But let's try and boil it down to the basics of what is a zombie. Now, my main resource for this video will be the Zombie Survival Guide penned by Max Brooks, who also wrote World War Z. Now, just to give you an idea of how much I thought about this concept, is my original copy of the book, which is from 2011. In it, we learn a couple things about the basic zombie that will be our basis for the video. First and foremost, the zombie is undead and can only be permanently stopped by destroying the brain. Doesn't matter how many limbs you slice off with your trusty katana, as long as there is still grey matter rattling inside that noggin, you're going to be finding whatever's left of your undead foe crawling towards you with whatever limbs it has left. Now, notably, as a zombie can only be destroyed by destruction of the brain, this makes a number of elimination methods irrelevant. A zombie cannot drown. Even if you sink it to the bottom of the ocean, it will be happy as a clam, living much like Sebastian the Crab under the sea. When it comes to the mobility of your traditional zombie, it's typically a slow mover. Now, this is most likely due to rigor mortis. What is rigor mortis, you ask? Well, let me explain. Now, I practically failed science in school, so I'm going to attempt to summarize this in layman terms that even I could understand. But basically, when a person becomes a zombie, they first have to die. And when someone dies, the body cannot produce the energy to produce ATP, which allows the muscle to relax. Without this, calcium begins to leak into the muscle, causing them to lock together. Within the first 2 to 6 hours, muscles in the eyelids, fingers, and jaws begin to stiffen, and after about 12 hours, major muscle groups begin to stiffen further. This can probably be what explains the stiff movements we often see in zombies, where zombies often have a leg stuck in a turn position, or why the traditional Romero zombie will have outstretched arms often locked in place. So we know why a zombie is, but what makes a zombie? Well, in the most traditional zombie lore, infection comes from the exchange of bodily fluids, be it saliva or blood. Typically, this is done for a simple bite, which is almost always fatal. More on that later. And to give you just an idea of how strong a human bite is, a human bite is around 120 to 161 psi. What is psi? However, instead of throwing random numbers around, what we can do is compare a human bite to other mammals, and it isn't very impressive. However, something you have to remember is that we, as living, breathing, non-zombified humans, are hardwired to not use our full strength by our own brains in order to not do more damage than is necessary. So a hungry corpse shuffling around, which is only using limited motor function, likely does not have this function in place, which means in theory, they could have a bite much closer to that of a dog, allowing a zombie to bite or chew through cloth, wood, leather, and even bone. When it comes to the rest of the zombie's senses, these can most likely be given the same attributes that of a survivor. As long as a zombie has 2 ears, 2 eyes that haven't rotted off yet, they can hear just as well as you or me. What they differ in is smell. In various bits of zombie media, we have been shown that they rely on smell much more than one might initially assume. Now, this varies in some cases, but it has been shown that zombies have recognized one another through simple sense of smell and use this as a way to avoid eating rotting flesh, or even avoid humans carrying diseases that may be deadly even to them. Now, speaking of smell, what about the rotting flesh that causes the zombies to have such a delightful and grotesque smell? I'm glad you asked. Now, you see, when we as humans die, it can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years, depending on weather conditions, for our body to completely decompose. So in theory, if all you have to do is hide in a bunker, the zombies will eventually rot away, right? No. You see, on myself, and yes, you at home watching this on your phone right now, sitting on the toilet, we are both covered in billions of microbes who would like nothing more than to devour us. However, thankfully, we have an immune system stopping this. But when we no longer do, they begin to break away all our soft tissue, and all that will be left is our hair, nails, and bones. This is also what makes an aged steak nice and soft. Now, whilst this process can be stopped by our immune system, it can be stopped by storing the bacteria in low or high temperature locations or in toxic chemicals such as formaldehyde. So whatever radiation, disease, or virus causes zombies in the first place is so toxic that it's enough to ward off this flesh-eating bacteria. This is most likely why the zombies we see in the world where the initial outbreak is years gone, zombie skin looks relatively fine. Section 2, why you wouldn't survive. So now we know what we're fighting against, the next step is knowing what not to do and what to avoid, with the first thing being the zombies themselves. I know, you've seen the movies, read the comics, and played the games. You know what you're doing, but to be honest, the risk is just far too great, and every battle avoided is a battle won. Because as anyone who's played Project Zomboid can tell you, all it takes is one zombie and one mistake for it all to be over. Now, let's say you and one of your merry band of survivors succumbs to a zombie bite. Now, popular fiction from Day of the Dead, The Walking Dead, or the terrible zombie movie starring Brad Pitt, which I will not mention, may lead you to believe that a simple and quick amputation may be the quickest way to resolve this. Sadly, this is not the case. Firstly, if we make the assumption the zombie infection is spread through your body via the bloodstream, well, I have some very bad news. Your blood circulates around your body roughly once a minute, meaning you would have very little time to amputate the infected area before it has already spread throughout your body. This doesn't even take into account accelerated heart rates due to increased blood flow from the adrenaline of fighting zombies. But even if we assume the infection spreads some other way instead of blood, amputations are incredibly risky. Even with trained professionals, which you will most likely not be traveling with, and even with the relative speed needed for the amputation, especially with it most likely being in the field, you'd be more likely to succumb to blood loss, shock, or infection. So if one of your party does get bitten in the field, consider putting them out of their misery quickly and humanely, rather than having their last moments be filled with even greater pain and anguish. So we've already established the zombie bite is the most deadly attack and most surefire way of spreading the infection, but this can be passed on just as easily through a simple scratch, or perhaps the most overlooked form of exposure to zombie fluids. Now picture this, you survived the initial outbreak and spent weeks cooped up in your home. You venture out into the ruins of the city after running out of food weeks ago. You're hungry, spot a can through a broken shop window, and being desperate, you climb through it carelessly, and while doing so, cut your arm. No issue, you'll get to that later. Your stomach is grumbling, and gee dang it, if you want your can of Sainsbury's own brand baked beans, then you're gonna get it. Just then, a zombie comes up behind you. Startled, your machete comes out and slices its head clean off, and you're covered in blood, and so is the open wound on your arm. And just like that, you are now part of the infected ghouls that roam the wastes. You see, an open wound is one of the deadliest things you could experience in a zombie apocalypse. Even before the zombie infection, you have the risk of regular infection, which could also kill you just as easily. So as well as avoiding zombies, be mindful of your surroundings and just avoid deadly situations altogether. Now, there are weapons you will want to prioritize, and we will examine those in our next section. However, for this section, our study of items will be fire, explosives, and even guns, and let me tell you now, these should be avoided, and I'm going to explain why. First and foremost, fire. While some zombies have been documented to avoid fire, these cases are not only rare, but few and far between, and at the end of the day, fire will always pose a far greater risk to you than any of the living undead. When trying to eliminate a zombie with any form of fire-flinging device, be it matches and gasoline, a trusty Molotov cocktail, or the Geneva Convention's favourite, the flamethrower, several risks reveal themselves. Firstly, fire has no friends and will not discriminate. Fire is just as, if not more deadly to you than the zombie itself. The smoke from the fire is also far more deadly to you than your zombie foe, as we've established zombies don't need oxygen. But you most certainly do, my friend. When attempting to reduce a zombie from a two-legged undead fiend into a smouldering pile of ash, setting the zombie on fire is only one aspect, as it can take minutes to hours for the fire to reach the zombie's brain, and in that time it takes, everything the zombie touches has a risk of catching fire too. This includes your supplies, your safe house, and even yourself. So unless you're using it as a means of disposal of a zombie corpse, it is recommended to keep as far away from fire as humanly possible. Explosives feature the same issues as fire, as they are just as, and realistically more of a risk to you than any zombie horde you may encounter for numerous reasons. First and foremost, the fundamental nature of explosive means they are unstable. And we're not even going to talk about DIY variety of explosives, as I don't fancy being on a government watch list just yet. Secondly, traditional explosives designed for combat on people that you're able to have access to, in theory, are designed to maim, not kill, and in most cases, you'll simply be making a zombie much more pointy after filling up with shrapnel. And thirdly, and most importantly, explosives are loud and will throw you off your game considerably, no matter how much you are expecting it. And I know you probably think you know this, but as a little tidbit, I've worked in film and specifically around explosives, and no matter how prepared you are, nothing can truly compare to how loud an explosion 30 or so feet away from you truly is, and the force you feel going through your body. Not only will this throw you off your game, causing seconds of doubt you can't afford, however many zombies you manage to take out with one explosive, many more heard it and are coming straight for you. Guns are another controversial note for, well, many reasons, but politics aside, unless you are well trained with a gun, they will be nothing more than dead weight. And as someone who has shot a couple guns and is not trained, it is very hard to hit a target with a gun, especially getting a headshot. You also have the issue of ammo, as it's much more like an explosion where for every zombie you kill, 5 times that will be heading in your direction due to the very loud sounds. Now, when choosing where to go in the event of an outbreak, the decision can be one that inevitably makes or breaks your survival. Hospitals, for obvious reasons, should be on your list of places to avoid. While the option may seem tempting with the housing of food, medicine, trained staff, and even security teams, they will also be the first destination for anyone bitten, making it a major location for large groups of zombies, which we're looking to avoid. Secondly, any large supermarket. While these may seem like an ideal location with ample supplies, not only will these be the target for most survivors day one, leaving most shelves barren, many supermarkets feature large glass doors protected with nothing more than a simple burglar alarm, which will only really function as a dinner bell. And finally, police stations. While police stations may seem ideal at first with secure doors, trained personnel equipped for disaster relief, and guns, the threat you encounter there will be far greater than any horde of the undead of any size, scared and desperate humans. This leads me to the final thing to avoid. Cities, or really anywhere with large swaths of humans during disasters. Airports, motorways, any area where you're bound to find large swaths of humans is to be avoided at all costs. While zombies may be a threat, zombies don't lie, a zombie won't betray you, and a zombie is at its core predictable. So if you're living in a city while the outbreak occurs, your chances aren't looking great. But it's not a death sentence if you follow our next section. But before we get onto that, if you're enjoying the video you see here, why not consider becoming a member? It really helps out the channel, and we're currently offering a lot of cool bonuses and incentives, but more on that later. Section 3, how to survive. So we know what not to do, now to know what we should do during a zombie apocalypse. First and foremost, let's reduce any unnecessary risks we could possibly be taking, and that means removing any long and luscious locks, such as mine, by either tying your hair back or shaving it off, which I was told I wasn't allowed to do for a gag for this video. You also want to make sure what you're wearing is appropriate for your environment. There's no use throwing on a leather jacket if you're in Georgia in the middle of the summer, as the dehydration will kill you faster than any zombie. When it comes to armor, speed and agility should be paramount above all else. Heavy armor will not only ruin this advantage you have against the slow and shambling undead, but puts you at risk of having an inflated confidence and false sense of security. And we've discussed it only takes one mistake to be turned into a zombie buffet. You want a mix of practicality and range of movement when it comes to armor. My personal recommendation would be a pair of cargo trousers, allowing you to store various bits and bobs, comfortable boots, preferably hiking, allowing you to keep those ankles untwisted and to protect the soles from any debris lying around, and some form of canvas or workwear jacket to give you just a few seconds you may need in the event of a surprise zombie bite. A special shout out I will give to a certain zombie movie featuring Brad Pitt, which I will not name, but was the first instance I saw at least of using magazines as shin and ankle guards, being both lightweight and durable. Now it's time to make your house not just a home, but a fortress. In most cases, a zombie outbreak, assuming your fridge doesn't look like mine from uni and is simply filled with a crate of Stella and a half-eaten pot noodle, you should have a reasonable amount of food to wait out the initial panic. This goes doubly so if you're located in a city where your streets will be flooded with looters and just abject panic. Take stock of what you have and make sure to eat the perishables first, as who knows how long this will last. But food won't be your only concern, as you'll need plenty of water. Now make sure to fill any cups, bowls, Tupperware and sinks with as much water as possible and keep them covered. That may include the bathtub as well, as washing is now just one luxury crossed off your list. Now, fully securing your home depends on a variety of factors, and sadly I don't know where you live. Yet. But the basics still apply. Lock all doors and windows, obviously. Close any curtains or block out any windows or views to the outside world. Remember, if a zombie has no reason to believe there is anything inside a building that is inaccessible, it will have no reason to try and get in. If you live somewhere which has 2 floors, destroy the stairs and install a ladder, or a less effective option is to barricade it. Just be sure to bring up anything you may need for long-term survival before you do so. By doing this, you'll make it impossible for any zombie to reach you. However, this does come with the additional risk of marooning yourself in your home and being unable to leave as you slowly starve, so, just at your own risk. For your weapons against the undead, the recommendation will always be that of the melee variety. Ideally, one that allows a long-range attack to keep the infected as far away from you as possible, such as a spear, baseball bat or crowbar, and a medium to close-range weapon for indoor encounters that allow you to avoid the risk of striking a wall instead of your undead foe. These would be your hammers, wrenches, or batons. Now it goes without saying, but cracking a zombie skull is no easy task, so ensure to train whenever possible. Bladed weapons can be used, but as previously stated, in my opinion, carry a far greater risk. At the end of the day, it will always boil down to what is available and what you're comfortable with, so simply ask yourself the following questions. Can I crush the skull in one blow? If not, can I decapitate it in one blow? Is it easy to handle? Is it light? And is it durable? Section 4, the conclusion. In conclusion, the zombie apocalypse, while difficult, is not impossible to survive, as long as you stay aware, avoid unnecessary risks, and prepare for the long haul. And also, just don't overestimate your own ability. So for the zombie apocalypse, I'm giving it, and you, a survivability rating of 66%. Did I get something wrong? Well, tell me in the comments so we can fight about it. Also, if you enjoyed this and want to support us making more of this kind of content, consider becoming a member, where you can have input on future videos, participate in members-only polls, and get exclusive goodies. At the moment, our members have a discount code for Screen13, a shop that we love that sells horror-themed patches. We don't get anything from this purchase with Screen13, we just wanted to support a small business run by a horror-loving couple like me and Emily. So if you want to get 15% off some amazing patches, become a bloody good member and you can get the code, which expires at the end of August. And a special shout out to our members, Rome the Hero, Phantom Crow, MTSD, Cardboard Boxo, and Steven Shaprokman. We really appreciate the support, and it truly goes a long way both financially and just having people believe in what we're doing here. And if you're still here, why not check out some of our other videos, like this video on the worst zombie movie I've ever seen. And if you're looking for something slightly calmer and less manic, there's a video done by my partner Emily, who just did a video comparing every single adaptation of Carrie. In the meantime, I've been Montgomery, this has been bloody good, and thank you so much for watching.